All right, everybody, away we go. Welcome to today's call. It is Friday, August 24th of 2018, and this is the TRC Sales Training Call. Welcome to the Realty Classroom Hot Seat. So we had some pretty interesting conversations this last week, not only in the mastermind level, but where we really got into it as well in Campfire. Again, if you're on a team and you're not aware that the Campfire is free to all my mastermind members, team members, that means that you just missed one recently. I'm happy to have them add you to the Campfire group so you get notified of those calls on Facebook, and you can come in there. You're obviously welcome here. But what came up was really interesting, and behind me on the board, if you're on Facebook, if you're not, don't worry about that. But on Facebook, what we were trying to do is we're always dealing with this question of now business. Hey, look, I'm game. I want to get out there. I want to have this now business. Well, so do I. So I share that desire with you, and so does everybody at the mastermind level. So all these top level thinkers, and I say that just because they've committed more time to thinking about working on their business, we came up with a couple of interesting scenarios that for all of us that have past clients, we definitely wanted to deal with them. So that really starts to bring up in a sales training context. Well, what do you say? If you're following up with past clients, what is the entree into the conversation from a sales standpoint? How do we bring that from there to here? The next thing was sphere of influence, which is a really big, important thing here. And you'll notice that those of you that are on Facebook or go watch the replay, the new agent number one step is to consider sphere of influence. Thanks to Sean Hummel, who I know has joined me here early, for bringing that, really fighting for that spot there. I thought that was really good. And then ultimately, the concept of farming or calling in, and finally, expireds and probates, okay? So that left me saying, we better deal with this scripting stuff and talk about it on the call. And the most important one was, if you're just calling into a neighborhood and you're trying to bring influence into that neighborhood from a community awareness standpoint or a benefit to your community, which I think is a great idea, you need to know what to say. So we're going to deal with that today, okay? So when I open up the microphones, remember *6. If you hit that or just mute your mic, I can't hear all that noise in the background, and I'm just contented to have you here. I'll take you if you're a yard sale mess or you are just simply focused and ready to go. But I need a participant here to talk to me. And Sean, I know you're in there, so maybe you can help me kick this off a little bit as people roll in, all right? So let's just double check. Everybody hearing me okay? Mic check? We good?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes.
Fabuloso. So thank you. Oops, it looks like Hummel's line dropped off just when I was looking for him there. So one of the things, though, that I wanted to just talk about was we've talked about in the past, I'm going to bring up my mind map while I'm talking about it, is that there is definitely a structure to certain things, but Paul Mihalowicz had a couple of guys on his team they're new. And so I get that call from Paul because he's smart like that. He gets them on the phone with me, and we have this sort of little huddle. I would call it the meeting a huddle. And the huddle really revolved around, how do I make money right now? How do I get out there? And I'm always a little squishy about how do I make money because I see the world a little bit differently than that. I feel that money's an inflow and an outflow. It's a byproduct of a process. And so that you don't want to focus on chasing the money because people smell that. And in this day and age with everything being so transparent, they don't like that. And it's a turnoff. And you don't want to be caught doing that. What you want to do is somewhere along the line be caught understanding that we're in the service business and that it is really up to you to bring great value to people. And I think that when you bring great value to people, you magnetically attract more business. And so that all the outflow of money, time, and effort that went out the door at the beginning of the process magnetically flows back in. We're not trying to dive over the side of the boat and wrestle somebody, right? Doesn't work like that. It's called selling on muscle. You can do it. You can get away with it for a while, but it's in direct proportion to your energy to really almost muscle people to a sale, and that's no fun, okay? So what I'll deal with today is the concept of how do we introduce ourselves properly. And because that's the first part of any scripting here, okay? I think it's really important to understand that when you make an introduction, stop getting caught up in all of the machinations of what you're supposed to learn, how you're supposed to say it, and just remember to introduce yourself properly. So any kind of a scripted moment, hey guys, remember, I'll just warn you again, so I don't have to mute mics, *6 me if you're banging around or there's a little echo in the background. I really would rather you had your mic open, but just a little quiet in the background, okay? So try to be cognizant of that. So as we go through this, there's an introduction. So if there's ever anything that I believe, some people, like, I don't know, it's funny, people put labels on you when you're a coach. They say, well, you don't really believe in this. What? Why don't you ask me if I believe in it first, and then I can clarify a point. I believe very much in a proper scripted introduction. Hi, my name is from this place, and I am calling you because, or I'm saying hi because, I'm door knocking because. So because is a very, very important trigger word that sets up the context. I'm this person from this place. Boom. What that does is it makes it personal. I'm him, I'm her. And then it gives context about from where, so that, and again, if the word real estate or realty is in there, we're beginning to trigger some sort of a conversation about that. And then ultimately, the because takes you into this place where you're really getting specific about, really, I'll make the argument, what's about to be in it for them. It's a very, very important thing. In training folks who have backgrounds as hustlers, right? Like today with Paul's crew. These guys are awesome. I mean, I could just tell. You can't teach hungry. I love that. You bring me somebody with hungry, I'll give them a strategy that these guys, I'll guarantee you, will go implement this weekend. 24 hours later, they'll do it. I just know they will. So when you go there, you have to kind of calm hustlers down and hungry people down, because what you're trying to teach is, look, there's a strategy that has to be supportive of the person that's in front of you. So that trigger word after you say who you are, where you're from, is that because moment. It triggers about like the reason. And if it's because I want to tell you about my resume, because I think the realtor before me stunk, because if it's a negative connotation, you're under more pressure, okay? And when I say a negative connotation, you might not see it that way, but think about it this way. Let's take other contexts. If I introduce myself to you, and I say things, this bristles me. I'm not going to say who created it or how it was created. I don't know. But one thing that really like gets the dander up for me is like, when are you going to hire the right realtor? Oh, it's like somebody scratching on chalkboard. We got to stop tearing each other down in the context of competition. Competition can be aggressive, but it doesn't have to be derogatory. I've always believed in that, and I've never strayed from it, okay? And it's worked just fine for me. I'm super aggressive. I mean, if my client wants something, I'm going all in for them as aggressively as possible. So don't misconstrue what I'm about to say. But because I have this thing that can empower you is a much better starting point. And I want to get that across as we start to develop this out and we start to think of different contexts like, past clients, sphere of influence, farming, expireds, probates. Those contexts are very different. So the thing that's in it for them, the WIFM for the consumer, the core of it, the core content, is going to stay the same, presuming they're seller, buyer, or agent. Those are just the three major dispositions that we know that we're dealing with as we grow a business in this industry. That's it. You're not going to have anybody that has a major disposition that's different from those three. For the most part, that's it. Okay? Hey, guys, someone's just banging around and rattling around. I'm an 86 that mic. Sorry about that. Just be cognizant. We have a lot of people here. It's just a little distracting for everybody if you don't mute your mic. So please mute your mic. Okay? Got it? There we go. Awesome. There you go. Thank you. So now when I come back to this, I say, hi, I'm Danny Griffin, calling from the Griffin Realty Group, and I'm calling you because. Okay? That just takes seconds. So most people aren't going to hang up the phone on you in the here's who I am, here's where I'm calling from, because, okay? That's a pretty small window of time within which you can get a lot across. But the because is where you really need to be educated, because that's the moment in time where you've earned that little trigger. Because is a very, very powerful word. It's somewhere in Cialdini's book, Influence. It's a trigger word, and they work. Trigger words work because sets me up the way I understand it, I'll just give you my context, is that I believe that when you say the word because, somebody's going to lean in and listen. So the only gift you're going to get back in time is one more beat beyond your intro to make your point quickly. And then after that beat, you're going to see where you can go. Is it going to trigger conversation? Is this somebody that says, yeah, okay, great, and just still is too busy for you? You got him at the bad time. We don't know what's going to happen in that moment in time. So my underlying coaching and training is to have you prepared for what we call frequently stated objections, blow-offs, whatever you want to call them, and maybe just not an interest, right? And that's okay. There's plenty of people out there that you would call, stop by, door knock, whatever, and they're just flat out not interested in what the because is. The WIFM is not that important to them, okay? So here we go, now taking that into a context. So the context that I wanted to deal with today was this context of farming or sphere of influence. I'll deal with them both today because I think it's important. As a new agent, Voltaire is a team leader in San Diego, and he smashes it individually. And so a lot of people come to Voltaire for guidance. And a lot of them, Voltaire is just a superhuman being, period. This guy is altruistic. He comes from very little means. He loves to help people that come from a similar background. And I give you that context because what I want you to understand is that he's a hustler, and he knows how to teach hustle. And I mean hustle in a very positive way. It means work hard. It's a work ethic. It's an honesty and integrity to work hard, put your boots on, your overalls on, and go get it. So his advice to somebody was, look, what you're going to do is, because you don't have any money to spend, you don't have any postcards you can do, any of this stuff, you're going to reach out to your entire phone. Most people can still afford a phone. They have a phone. It's the way we communicate. You're just going to let all these people know that you have this new context. Hey, everybody in my phone, I just want to let you know I've joined Voltaire. I'm in real estate. I don't know if anybody needs some help buying or selling or knows somebody, but I want to let you know I'm here. Well, this guy has already closed 3 deals, okay? He's already closed 3 deals, not found some people in his phone that knew somebody that was interested. He's actually closed 3 deals. So he's monetized this sphere of influence, this place where he already has some trust. If I have your phone number, there's a certain level of trust already. And I don't know in that sphere where you may or may not have some relevance. But once he goes in there, he's giving people context that he's out there. I don't know what he did or didn't do to overdo that or underdo that or what he said. And that's my goal here today, to chunk up that conversation and say, what do we believe as a mastermind group of people is the way that we want to be treated? This is Golden Rule 101. If somebody picks up the phone and calls you, the simple question is, how do you want them to speak to you? How do you want to be treated? Even if it's something that's not relevant to you, how do you prefer to be spoken to? That's not rocket science, the answer. It's rhetorical. You want to be treated with respect, right? That's what you want. I want that. You want that. Respect me. Respect that you're interfering with my life by calling me where I may or may not have interest, even if I do have context like expired, somebody died. Oh, guys, come on, man. Just remember, live mics here, okay? Try to keep it under control there. Somebody just had a meltdown. Sound like somebody blowing their nose. So what we want to do here is we want to talk about today, because here's something I have for somebody in your situation. But then from there, to respect the tone, the pace, and where they take you, and be coached in all of the frequently asked objections or pushbacks that we haven't dealt with in sphere of influence, calling, or farming. Everybody got me? Somebody give me a hello and let me know that you're hearing me. You're hearing this message here. It's enough of my preamble. You good?
Hello.
Okay, thank you. All right. I want the reaction from people about their phone. Any of my newer agents or people looking for conversations now with people you trust, what is your reaction to going to your phone, texting, whatever you would do as a broadcast, letting people know, or your Facebook profile where you might have a lot of people in your community? What would you say to them all right now, and how would you say it? Somebody take the bull by the horns. Nobody here today is interested in doing business, right? All 25 plus of you in here, online, nobody wants to do any business today, right? That's where you're at? Come on.
I thought you were asking for people. That's why I didn't speak up.
No. Speak up. Just speak up. Just cut to the line. I'm asking you, what would you say? Who's that speaking, by the way? I'll take that person.
Me, Paul.
Tiffany.
Paul?
Oh.
Paul, you're in. Tiffany, you're in after him. Paul, go. You speak, because you do plenty of this calling. If you were calling your phone or broadcasting your phone or your profile, what would you say?
That's a really tough question, Janet. I didn't jump in because I thought you were going for new people, but you know that I don't really, I don't call my sphere of influence. I do the monthly newsletter and then the quarterly hard copy newsletter. I send out handwritten thank you cards, coffee cards.
Yeah, but hold on. Paul, I got it. Paul, I got what you do. It's good, though. I've got one of my best mastermind members. I'm going to paint you into a corner. You have to give this advice like Voltaire did. What would you say to a new agent who is going to their phone, and perhaps you and I ought to consider doing it? That's what I'm saying. What would you say? You put your coaching hat on, and you're going to do it yourself, and I'm going to do it. Yeah, go ahead. What is it?
I got you.
Yep.
I just pick up the phone and go, hey, Danny, Paul, with Paul Cantu. Just wanted to let you know I just joined Voltaire's team. Lefe Real Estate, whatever the name of it is.
Yep.
And I'm really looking to launch my business, and I'd really appreciate your support. You know, we did a work together in the past, or whatever the context is. You know this person. Basically, you already have, like you said, a level of trust if you're friends or if you're calling them or you have their phone number. So basically, just literally asking for their support in your new endeavor, and that's what we tell our new agents. We're like, hey, at the very least, if you don't have any freaking money, go on Facebook and instant message everybody you know and let them know that you have a new, you're in a new business. You want their support. You appreciate it. You'll reward them. In your state, you can, without getting in trouble, send them a referral, $500 card if they, get you somebody that closes. But basically, it's straight up asking for their support based on your friendship, on your trust, on your relationship. Maybe you played soccer with them, maybe you worked with them in a different industry, whatever. But yeah, it's literally just reaching out and asking for help.
Cool. Tiffany, go ahead. Jump in on that while he's got momentum there. What were you going to say?
Well, I just wanted to have some advice on. I think I really do want to reach out to all my phone contacts.
Yep.
But I'd like to know how to articulate to them that, yes, I've been in the business a very long time, but I'm revamping and I have new strategies. So what would be the best way to articulate that?
Awesome. That's a good one. Superb. I love it because you've already been there, done that. You're in the mastermind. You're working with Tanyel. Great. Awesome. Because it is a little bit tricky. We feel sort of, I guess we're always a little bit embarrassed to show up and ask our friends for help. I don't know why that is, why we're so afraid to ask people, could you help me? Right? Could you help me? Could you give me some guidance? Could you point me in the direction? But I think what really would help is if we really, and you know where I've been going with all the campfire and the mastermind calls because you have access to both. I'm really trying to push forward on the concept of what is the core guiding plan that we give. Think about the hero's journey, okay, or the story brand formula. The hero of the story is the seller or the buyer, and if you're recruiting, the agent. Okay, so that's why I always talk about avatars or ideal clients. The way that our business works, it's those three. You with me, Tiff?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, keep your mic open, okay? I like it interactive. I don't care if you have a little background noise while you're talking to me. Stay in the hot seat with me, only because I don't like to lose the momentum. So the point is, there's somebody in your phone that is either selling or buying, or they know somebody who's going to do it. Doesn't mean tomorrow. Doesn't mean that there's an appointment at the end of the offer, but somewhere in there it's going to happen. It's just the way that it is because we're dealing with one of the top needs in life, shelter, right? We lose that. We forget that. We think so small and microscopically. We don't see the big context, even if they're leasing, because the lease might turn into a sale, right? So when I think about that, I say, all right, what would I offer when I give them what I want, which is a request for help, can I give them a because in the same way, or a gift that they could share? So if you say you're revamping, you are headed in a good direction. What is the core basis of what you've learned from me so far that we believe in? What is it?
Strategic planning for buyers and sellers.
Correct. That's simple. We don't have to state something, amazing. We're just simply saying that, look, we have a plan. So I think we have to own the persona of guide, Sherpa, taking somebody up Mount Everest, the local villagers who know the pathways and know how to help somebody go up and summit, right? That's what we are. This is a huge financial transaction. It is the Mount Everest of most financial transactions. I'm not saying people don't make bigger ones in their life, especially at luxury. They may own big companies, whatever, but this is one of the big ones. It needs guidance, and all those insecure professionals or people are just insecure in general say, well, I've done it before and I don't need guidance. Great. Those are most of the people that get blown off the side of the hill, right? It's the arrogance that you run into. But even those people, you can lean on them and say, look, stop. And this is where I'm giving you examples of being aggressive, right? Stop. I get it. You're the smartest guy in the medical field, okay? This is what I do every day. You don't even have to use me, but I'm going to stop you there. This is a 7-point strategic plan that gets very micro. Okay, and I do this every day. That'd be like saying, yeah, I've been to a couple surgeries myself, and I'll probably open up my body the next time myself. Okay, so whether you want to believe that is the same kind of transaction or not, you don't do this every day, so your finite distinctions aren't there. In fact, even as a rookie, Tiffany, I can teach a rookie agent to take a strategic plan to somebody and know better than that human being what the chunked up issues are. They might not have the micro resume, but they darn well know the strategies, right? So I think you have to let people know, and I'm going there a little bit more dramatically with you because I want you to believe in the power of your guidance. And what gives you power and lifts you up is my guidance to you to say, look, will you trust that the plan matters? I'm the same person you are. When I'm not playing your guide as an agent, I'm the same person in the field giving guidance, telling people whether they want to hear me or not, look, I know you didn't want to sit still, and this happens with a lot of expireds. I find that a lot of people expire their listings because they will not listen to the guide, okay? So I say to a lot of people, I know, you didn't want to sit still, and you didn't want to listen to this whole thing, but I'm still going to tell you where I'm at in the process, okay? So here's what's happened. We started off by pricing in this range. You did everything I asked you to do on conditioning. Good for you. You took the furniture out so there was no staging involved. And I've had some marketing already take place that led to communication. I've had some co-broke showings, and here's where I'm at. See where I'm going? I'm able to even take those people who are resistant to it, but wink, 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 they're still very much appreciating that I'm in full control of what I'm doing. They may or may not outwardly pat me on the back, agree with me, or whatever it is, but I own it. You don't want to listen? Like, I've got a couple of people right now that I'm working with that I can see the end is near, and they're not communicating with me. You don't want to listen to me? You don't want to hear what I'm saying? You don't want to respond on email? This thing's going to expire, and I'm done. That's it. There's nothing I could do. I need a willing participant to be with me. You cannot climb Mount Everest if you are not going to talk to me. I am going to kick you off my team. So, again, it's a dramatic deal here in guidance for you to make the point that somewhere in you, you've got to get beyond the insecurity that what you have is not valuable. That's my job. My job is to instill that a great, simple plan is everything. I have 5 kids. I was talking to one of them about it this morning. You know, when you get ADD and you're all over the place with creativity, or you get OCD and you're microscopically stuck, what pulls you out of those modes is a simple plan. It quiets the ADD. It shows you a bigger scope for if you're OCD. And I'm not using those terms in a derogatory or casual way. Those are very serious conditions for some people. I'm referencing that if you're scatterbrained or you're microscopically stuck, you need to chunk up into a plan. That matters for everybody. Because what happens is all of the external forces of making a market for a seller narrowing down for the buyer what they get. All those external forces, the marketplace, crazy sellers and buyers who are just so emotional on the other side, an agent who's lost on the other side. My gosh, I could go down the list, Tiff, of so many things that could go wrong. So now, with that context, you look at your phone contacts and you say, oh my gosh, he's right. I have a sphere of influence inside of my phone with all of these people who may be themselves or may know somebody that's about to go into the storm without a strategy. And here I am, this guide, learning every week from my guide how important this stuff is, and I'm not letting them know. It's almost like Danny wants to put you on a guilt trip, Tiffany. See where I'm going? Like, why wouldn't you?
I see.
Go ahead, come on. Go ahead, you're going to say something. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening. I was agreeing, so you know I'm here.
Yeah, good, perfect. So what I'm saying is that now the because is, hey, everybody in my phone, I appreciate you being here. And I just want to let you know that I have this new outlook on real estate. I've never had it before. I want you to know that I'm really trying to offer good guidance, and I've got a couple of good plans, a buyer and a seller plan. So if anybody out there is thinking about buying or selling property, or you know somebody who is, I just simply want to share my plans. Don't ask for anything. Try it. Like, just don't go there. Don't ask for anything. Try to give away the guidance just like that. And try to be a good steward of your sphere of influence by offering that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Okay, and that's all you have to do now. If they say, sure, I'd love it, text me. You can also do this on social platforms. You can DM. I mean, again, I haven't DM'd all my followers before, so I technically don't know how to do it, but I'd go to YouTube and in 30 seconds I'd know how. But you could DM everybody on Instagram. You could private message or use Messenger to message everybody that's with you on Facebook, Messenger, wherever. Just say the same thing. Hey guys, it's Tiffany. And again, because that's your sphere of influence, want to let you know that I've joined up with Spencer Realty, and they've just got a whole new philosophy. It's all about guidance, and I'd be remiss if I didn't let you know we got these 2 killer plans for anybody that's buying or selling. You don't have to use me even. I just want you to know they exist. And if you want one, let me know, right? Or if you know somebody who needs one, let me know. I would start with that today. Everybody listening to this, I would get off and I would just try that today. See what happens, right? See what happens. You might have some people that unfriend you. They unfollow you, right? That's okay too. We're just thinning the herd. Look, this is what we do. We're being authentic, and we're being, I guess, helpful as a guide. So that's where I would start. Any comments on that? Thoughts?
That's good.
Yeah, thoughts from everybody else on the call. Anybody?
I've done that, and I've gotten 3 buyers from messaging people on Instagram that I follow.
Oh, are you the one that's with Voltaire? Who's speaking? I need a man.
Yes. Dwayne Smith.
Yeah, Dwayne, I used you as an example. I don't know when you came into the call. Bravo, dude. You get a standing ovation from me. And first of all, I think the world of Voltaire for giving you that advice to hustle. So you have a real validation of your ability to just go to social in that sphere of influence and be resourceful without spending money. Just put it on to your sphere of influence that you're there. Tell me how you did it originally, and tell me how you react to what I just said.
How I did it originally was, I just literally went through everybody and one after one, copy and pasted the same message. Hey, I just got started in real estate. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell, or if you have any questions, shoot me a message. And then slowly I started getting messages from people. Hey, how does this work? How does that work? And then, some of them I didn't know.
Yep.
I didn't know the answers to the questions, and I was honest. I said, hey, I don't know right now, but let me get right back to you. And I just followed up with them, whether it was 15 minutes the next day.
Yeah, bravo.
And I slowly started going through there. And I'm doing the same thing right now with my Facebook. And then I'll go through LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, bravo. Good for you. That's called being resourceful. And see what he just said? He didn't get caught up in what he didn't know. He said, I'm here. I can help. And the minute he didn't know the answer, he said, I don't know, but I'll go get it. I've told you for years that's what I did in the beginning, right? That's exactly what I did. I said, hey, here we are, right? And I'm sitting here and I'm ready to do what I'm ready to do. But if I don't have the answer, I will be the greatest resource you've ever found. And what he did properly, Dwayne, you did this properly, is that very quickly you got them the answer. Right? Very quickly, you got him the answer. You were just a resourceful guy. You got him the answer, and then they trusted you even more to be a resource. You got them what was important to them. So you give a broadcast, I'm here. You got a specific question, I want personal answers. You got them, and then you earned the business, right? Bravo.
Correct.
Yep, bravo. Good for you. I'm proud of you. That's just great. And by the way, did you go to Voltaire for the answers? What kind of answers did you need to get?
Yeah, I went to Voltaire. I went to other agents in our office. I went to Google. I tried to find it out myself first. Went to Google and then asked Voltaire, "Hey, is this the right answer?" Sometimes I was right. Other times I was wrong. But yeah, I just reached out to people. I mean, it was uncomfortable at first, getting over like, "Oh, am I bothering them?" But like you said, some people unfollowed me, which was fine. Didn't talk to them that much anyway, so.
Yeah. Awesome. Good for you. Bravo. I think that's good stuff. All right. So you stay in the hot seat with me. And let's go a little bit further. You and Tiffany can stay in the hot seat. Okay. So now, what if we take this beyond there? Let's go beyond with you. All right. And we're gonna start saying, okay, I live in this neighborhood and I've been there a long time and I want to do business. Let's just assume you've made a marketplace decision, right? So now we look at it and we say, okay, you're gonna prospect into a neighborhood. You're just gonna call with that same general attitude of being able to help people. So what would you say? I'm gonna have you go first. Tiffany, you go second. What would you say? Let's just say, hey, I'm Danny Griffin from Griffin Realty Group, and the reason I'm calling is because, let's just say that this is generally out there. I wanna see what your instinct, because you have good instincts, what would you say in that moment in time?
I'm just calling to see if you're looking to invest in the real estate market here in San Diego.
Okay. So you're calling whom? Let's be more specific. Who you calling?
Calling an absentee homeowner.
Okay. So now you have a specific. So you have context. I'm going to call an absentee homeowner. Okay. And so you're calling in, and now try it again. Because now you can see more clearly the person to whom you'd be speaking with the context. Now try it again. You're an absentee homeowner. You say, hi, my name is Dwayne from Lepe Tendwell. I'm calling you because?
I'm looking to see if you want to sell your home that's on, 123 Park Boulevard in the next 3 to 6 months, or if you're looking to invest in another investment property.
Okay. How do you know it's an investment property?
Because, on the sheet that I do have a sheet like that, and I can see that it's people that have multiple homes, that they don't live in the state.
Okay. All right. So you're making an assumption that's it. Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm just playing with you a little bit here because I think you need to be prepared.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, you need to be prepared for these calls. And again, what is your main objective here? Let's just say from a standpoint of helping them, because we've already established that you monetized helping people. So I'm good with you at this point as a helper, as a guide. You're a proven guide already, even as a rookie. So I'm asking you, okay, when you pick up the phone and you call these people, similarly to your sphere of influence, now these are new people. So you're expanding your business and you're calling into an area where you know these properties, you live there, you work there, whatever, you're there. You have some local knowledge. That's where I'm going. So my question to you beyond that is, okay, now what?
I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Okay, good. Good. Nice, honest answer. Tiffany, come on in.
Okay.
Okay. So we're calling. You can pick somebody else if you want to. I don't care. But you're calling into a farm. I don't love the concept of farming to the extent that it sounds like a weird word. You're calling into a neighborhood within which you'd like to do more business, and you're a mastermind member, so you're very clear that this is an inventory business and you need to control listings wherever possible, okay? So I'm going to help give Dwayne 10 fingers by catching up to what you already know. So you're calling in looking for listings, potentially. There might be buyers in there, but your orientation is to call. Who would you like to call? Are you calling randomly? Just looking for people? Because that matters. If you're just flat out farming an entire area and you don't know that it's an expired, it's an out of state, how about that? Let's just set the context because that's where I wanted to go today. Now what?
So, okay, I was going to talk about my sphere of influence, but for farming, I think I would choose a certain area because we had talked about our avatar and where I feel like I could bring buyers and do really well with listings because I know the area. So I think that would be my point of interest of calling them, just saying, you know, my name is Tiffany, I'm with Home Smart, and it would be my pleasure to share with you how I can help you with strategic planning if you're interested in listing your home.
Okay.
There's a need for inventory. There's a lot of folks looking in your area. It's a very nice area. It would be my pleasure to help you.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's go here and let's think a little bit more. With Gail and I hit a little seam here a couple weeks ago about the term community service, okay? Because generally, I think if you believe that in the beginning, you're good. You know what I mean? I think you're good. So what I would say to you is that, first of all, both of you, Dwayne, Tiffany, and everybody else, I'm going to give you a couple things that this group's, we called it circle prospecting / farming. I'm going to put a name in there because I'll put it up in the group too so you can all see these scripts. Because I think you do need some guidance to understand where you're at or you have no compass. So we call it circle prospecting or farming. Circle prospecting can mean like I have a listing, I have a thing. I'll call it just that area within which you two would love to do more business. You'd love to have more listings to which buyers would be attracted, other sellers would see you busy. That's the core of this business, and you need to think that way from day one with a new license, okay? So the definition is calling around a neighborhood regarding just solds, just listeds, or general market update information, okay? So the community service, per se, is to let people know that you're basically this real estate financial advisor who's telling them what's going on. And the just listeds and just solds don't necessarily have to be controlled by you or your company. Let that sink in for a second. Everybody says, whoa, no. You are a member of MLS. You pay for access to be a member of the multiple listing service as an agent, which gives you access to other people's listings. In fact, IDX, as long as they've said yes, syndicate to the world, you're also allowed to put other people's listings on your website as long as it's disclosed properly. So why does our brain stop there? Why are we always in default mode? Why don't we think creatively? It's because nobody sits still and thinks, right? If you think that your job is to be the community service advisor in the context of real estate, you could theoretically every week produce a report of everything that came on that week and everything that sold that week. And you could look at trends, you could do an analysis, you could do whatever you wanted. You could post it to Facebook and social on your page, and then you pick up the phone and say, hey, it's Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group, and the reason I'm calling is because I just wanted to let you know I'm doing a community service by just trying to let people know what's happening in the real estate market. Everybody seems to always want to know how's the market, so I'm being aggressive about that. Every week, I post on my Facebook page all of the solds and actives that took place that week. And I just wanted to let you know it was there in case you're a Facebook user. If you're not, I'm also happy to put you in a mailing list where I can mail something out like this on a regular basis to you. And by the way, inventory is always light, and we're always looking to find people that are thinking about selling. So I don't know if you or your friends were thinking about selling, but if you were, we'd love to know that. And again, I'm giving you the narrative. I'm not giving you a script. I'm saying, here's what's possible. But we get all weirded out about making phone calls. But yet in the mastermind the other day, what came up was the number one medium that my mastermind members in a runaway vote said that the number one way that they would deliver a message, if all they could do was one thing, they said call. Now face-to-face came up, but there's not as much time leverage in face-to-face. So they were both close. But the number one marketing medium for message upon which my message will be delivered would be calling. Because I can leverage my cell phone, which I already pay for, as long as I can just get some track of some numbers I will call. Okay? Now, if getting numbers is too expensive or it's a problem or whatever it is, you can start door knocking. But I'm just trying to illustrate points here that says, look, we get weirded out because of what? I'll go back to where I started. You don't want to be treated with a lack of respect for your time, your privacy, all of that. It's what humans don't want. Don't interfere with my privacy. Don't interfere with my, my time, unless you're super relevant. So if somebody owns in an area, it is always relevant for them to know what's happening in the real estate market. Now, they might not be interested at all. I don't care. I'm going to die in the house. It doesn't matter to me what it's worth. I have no interest. Don't bother me. No problem. No problem. Take them off the list. But those that are interested become known as the person who is calling into the area with market updates, making people aware that there is a digital venue upon which you post market updates that they can see, or they can be part of your quarterly newsletter. You'll add their name to it and you'll send it out. By the way, in return, all I ask is if you or anybody else is thinking about selling or buying in the neighborhood, would you consider interviewing me to help you? That's it. Dwayne, how about that?
Yeah, that sounds great to me.
Okay, now where you were going is if there is specific interest, if you determine once you get them that this is an investment property, then it's appropriate to say, hey, are you interested in more? Hey, are you interested in selling any of them? What's your strategic plan for your investment properties? Do you have anybody that's on the hunt looking for the next one? Then it becomes relevant. But in the beginning, if you come out of the box just, hot, just talking at them, you might turn them off even if they are interested. You follow me?
Yeah, that's true.
So you got to think through this a little bit more. Would you want to be talked to like that, right? I think that's the key. It doesn't mean stop being aggressive. It just means come up with first a concept of why you're just generally calling people. Now, if you want to get specific, I can give you an example in an expired, which I will go there. But my goal was to really reiterate to people what we're doing. I'm going to read some scripts here in a second. But Tiffany, I want to hear your thoughts on that before I move on. What was your reaction to that, Tiff, as I was saying it?
I thought it made sense and it was logical, so they could make a choice, and it would be a informed choice.
Yeah.
On which way they wanted to go.
And how did you feel about seeing yourself? Both of you can answer this. How did you feel about seeing yourself saying that? Was it too soft? Was it too aggressive? Dwayne, go first, and then Tiffany, go. What did you do? Could you see yourself saying that?
Yeah, I could see myself saying that for sure. I felt like it was informative. Took me back to my teaching days.
Awesome. That's interesting. That's a good connection. How'd you feel when you were teaching?
I felt like I was just trying to give the kids, life skills, not so much, the lesson plan, but here's an overall guidance. This is the way to go about things. This is a mindset to have. So I'm really going to start, when I make calls, when I'm putting out marketing materials, start really back in my teaching mode and use that as a motivation behind everything I do.
Beautiful. I think that's a quick connection for you.
I love that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dean. Grab it, because so do I. But you're moved by it. Go there.
Be who you are, and the beauty of what we're doing in this business is we are teachers. We are the guides. And a teacher is nothing more than a guide to the next step in life. And I think that we've got to come from that mindset of we're not selling, we're educating, we're providing value and guidance. And I think if you own that, it comes, if you truly own that, it comes across so sincerely that people will listen to you, even if there's never a chance in a million years that they would be able to hire you. To do that and go in with that empathetic tone to say, hey, I'm here because I'm learning myself. I've been a teacher my whole life. The most important part of being a good teacher is being an even better learner, and using that to create conversations so that people can buy into you and how you feel. And it creates so many opportunities to avoid confrontation. Sometimes you're going to get a no more often than not, but that's absolutely fantastic because it helps you clean your list.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was just thinking there while you were saying that, let me ask a question. Were you ever intimidated by the kids?
No.
Okay. Why not?
I felt like I had knowledge that they didn't possess, and I felt like they were coming to me to gain that knowledge.
Okay. See, there's where I was going with this. So why is it that, and I'm not saying this is you, Dwayne, and Tiff, maybe you can answer this, or anybody else that feels like this is a struggle. And this is why I'm trying to, and this is why I love that Dean felt what I just felt there, was a true connection and understanding to empower you. I find that most of you wouldn't do things like call into a neighborhood or even drop by at an expired house because there's an intimidation of rejection. And, well, what would I say? But yet we'd look at a child and be able to just walk right up to them and not be intimidated and be able to help and guide, even if it wasn't our child, and just guide them. But once there's an adult, something happens to us, and I find it a lot when coaching. When I ask any of you to give me some positive commentary about yourself, to tell me a couple of the things that make you special, it's stunning to me what a deer in the headlights moment that is. So when it comes to adults dealing with adults, we feel so unbelievably inadequate, and that's actually a result of pride. We're always pridefully comparing ourselves to others, and we ultimately end up feeling much less than we are. So we lose this desire to teach out of embarrassment, pride, and everything. And that's why I was trying to early in the call to say, look, when you're calling into a neighborhood, if you all would just call to teach, it doesn't mean that you have to have a resume and a PhD and a doctorate as a teacher to teach. Somebody without any degrees can teach something that they learned. You read a paragraph in a book today, and you're the only one that reads that paragraph with intensity, and it gives you an understanding, and you share that with somebody who it's relevant for, you all of a sudden have a teaching moment. And you've empowered somebody else. And being detached from the outcome and not worrying about that, just having the glory and the fun of teaching and sharing and saying, look, I learned this thing today. It was pretty cool. I don't know if you ever thought about selling a house, but it's pretty amazing. Like, really pricing it right is first. And the good news is for people, I did learn today that there's a price range, that nobody has the magic, number, that you can actually improve your ability to get a higher price if you recondition things, if you can, and do a lot of low-cost things. That's a teaching moment. And that's not rocket science. It's just bringing this really more intense focus to somebody else's life who's not thinking about that every day. I know you've sold a bunch of houses, but I want to say, number one, what I learned this week was pricing it right is a range. We're trying to find a range and then refine it. Then I'm trying to move you up in that range by teaching you and coaching you what to recondition. Now, I know that because even as a rookie agent, I've been in and out of houses. I look at stuff on MLS and I can see the ones that are reconditioned, clean, even if they're tired. They're clean, the pictures are brighter, everything's better. All this strategic approach matters, and I want to share that with you. And being detached from the fact that you need a sale to make a living at this. It's difficult, but I think we're always training these tricky techniques that have nothing to do with teaching. I'm not saying that words like trigger words like because or NLP, repeating back to somebody what they said so that they feel connected to you in the conversation. Sure, those are techniques that absolutely are effective, but it's the belief system upon which they're used that I think is the biggest problem in this industry. Dwayne, that makes sense?
No, that definitely makes sense.
Tiffany? Go ahead, Dwayne. I cut you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
When I was a teacher and a kid asked a question I didn't know, I had no problem saying, oh, that's a great question.
Yep.
I don't have the answer right now.
Yep.
Come back during lunch or after school, and we'll work through the problem.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's a true teacher's heart, and only a guy that, was dedicated to teaching kids, higher calling, can now parlay this that easy. But Dean reacted to it. Let me just go into some of the technicalities of this too. When we last did the Circle Prospecting Farming, I want to see how far we've come as a group, right? Hey, it's Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group, and the reason I'm calling is because I just listed XYZ Main Street. I'm wondering if you have any friends or family that might want to buy in the neighborhood. I'm having an open house Saturday 1 to 3. I also know that this will go quickly, so I'm wondering if you or any of your neighbors were thinking about selling as well. That was one thing that we came up with. Another thing was the just sold. I'm calling you because I just sold XYZ Main Street and we had a lot of overflow buyers, so I'm wondering if you know of any of the neighbors that are thinking about selling. You didn't happen to be thinking about selling yourself, did you? Now, in either scenario, it is context upon which I'm calling. So that's circle prospecting around an event. It's not what I was saying about just general farming, but you could use this technique to general farm. I just wanted everybody, if you wanted to just set yourself up as the community steward of all things real estate, that's how it begins. And then it goes on to your community page or whatever Facebook page. You can become the person just posting that stuff, okay? So that's what I wanted to just tell you we had come up with. Now, what we said after that was if they were interested, great. What I can do is I'll add you to our market update newsletter so that you can follow what's going up and down. So down the line, if you're thinking about selling or somebody's there, you're just on this on a regular, frequent basis. If they're interested sooner, hey, you know what I'd like to do is like to set you up an MLS to receive immediate updates every time one of your neighbors sells so you know how it affects your value. And that's very true because that's what a CMA is based off of. The beginning point for a good comparative market analysis is what sold most recently in that neighborhood that looks most like them. So if they're getting a drip of that from you, that is relevant to helping them see the trend and then chunking it all up when it's hyper relevant to give them value. If they're not interested, if they're interested right now. So we went levels. Generally interested right now, whatever. Hey, I'm happy to come by and do a more thorough review to help you prepare to list so that you can get top dollar. So that's what we came up as a group that was very specifically around inventory. So we go from the most general thing that I'm trying to coax you into doing first. If you feel uncomfortable about just listeds and just solds as a specificity, you can call around general market information just to be this good steward. And they might just shuffle you off, but you still were breaking the ice and building brand and doing these things. Does that make sense, Dwayne? I'll leave you my hot seat since you're doing a good job. Do you understand where I'm going with degrees of specificity, general to just listed to just sold?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And since Voltaire is your team leader and he does so many solds, it's a no-brainer to take the ones that he sells in the area you'd like to go and work with him on getting on the phone and using his resources to go there. Does that help?
Yeah, that helps.
Okay.
I mean, when we do the same thing with anybody in the office, they're just listed, they're open houses, we all try to promote them on our social media.
Yeah. Awesome. But I'm talking about you even being more specifically doing what you did with your sphere of influence, right? Not just really being, and going back, by the way, going back to the well on sphere of influence and becoming, that deliverer of information. I wouldn't overstay my welcome, but I'd text my whole, crew, hey, my market stats for the market are up. If anybody's interested, they're over here. Blasting that out on Facebook. But picking up that teaching moment at a frequency that's not pestering. And I would say that that's about monthly. So for those people in your phone, on your Facebook profile, on your gram following, whatever it is, that monthly kind of beat to put it out there and let people know it's there, something like that. So again, I'm just trying to coax you into this, all of you, to try to get there. All right, let's hear from some other people. Dean, if you want to come back in after that and hit anything that you seemed real moved there. So anything that you want to deal with, go ahead.
It's been on my mind a lot lately because we're going.
Hang on, Chris. Hang on. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's been on my mind a lot lately because we're going through a rebranding and I'm trying to come up with the best way to share with my crew how we can go about getting the word out there in a much more effective way. And that's basically it. Is, we're going through these changes. We've evolved as an organization. We believe in providing value up front, all of those kind of things. So to listen to, especially the teacher comments from Dwayne, I think that's important, because you all got to go in with that mindset. And that immediately helps, at least me, avoid any of that potential fear of rejection.
Yeah.
And that, hey, I'm just here offering assistance and guidance. You may not need me today, but you may need me tomorrow. I've got this information. I'd love to share it with you. I'd love your feedback and your opinion. Make the consumers part of the process.
Oh, I love that.
Make them feel that they're part of your bigger picture journey.
I love that last piece. That was a home run. Repeat that. Repeat that.
It's why I'm working so hard to get all these materials done properly, so that they not only explain the vision for what we're doing, and there is a much bigger vision and mission, but to make them feel that they're part of it as well. Hey, maybe you're not making a move, but we've got a goal to help 2,000 families transition into their new lives on an annual basis. Who do you know? And it's funny, because we were talking, and this is me getting a little deeper on myself, but we were talking about it the other day. I was talking about it with Dean Mercado, my other coach, and I said, just because somebody's not buying or selling a home doesn't mean that they can't be part of that long-term solution. We've got a vision to help eliminate military home, veteran homeless issues here on Long Island.
Right.
And if I can help get a vet into a home and talk about that big picture, and get people to buy into, hey, we're not just here about making money and taking money from you. We're here about providing value, both to those who need our actual services and to those who can't afford our services. And it's why that whole teacher thing really struck a chord with me the minute Dwayne opened his mouth. I love it.
Yeah, me too. Well, it's near and dear to my heart, because the minute, Dwayne, by the way, the minute Dwayne, the minute we shifted this all at the mastermind level, for a lot of us, we shifted to this teaching mode. And even those that still lead with the hardcore scripting and calling, they see the benefit in that when they get backed into, and there's sort of a lost situation, they're not able to get that right now appointment. The default mode is sort of like a buoy in the middle of the ocean, and that's the core content. Hey, sounds like you're not ready to relist right now. Sounds like you just got a little exasperated by being on and it didn't work out. Let me just do this. Let me send you over my home seller course. It's the general guide that I use for my sellers. You might see something in there that makes you think that maybe one of these pieces of the technique was out of line. When you're ready, I'm happy to come in, call you on the phone, whatever you like, to give you a little consultation to see if you can get back on track, okay? So why don't I just send you that over, and I'll check in with you down the line. Would that be okay? So whatever extreme is, and there's that respect. Being respectful of another human being. I know it's going to sound patronizing today, but have you ever let somebody out of a really hairy place where they're trying to get onto a double yellow line, and you stop and you flash your lights and you wave them on? Have you ever seen anybody do the massive wave? Hey, thanks. It's just this incredibly easy thing to do. And we don't bring it into the context of business for some reason. There's this weird place that we go to with this overpowering coaching training that you got to know the script and you got to get in there and you'll never make any money. Baloney. I've been making money for years without being overly aggressive on the phone, okay? And I've been a top producer since I think the first 12 months of my career. Never have I muscled people into doing something. Never. It's never been part of my technique. It's always been, now I think I'm much better at it now. You get older, you get more mature in your approach, but I've always wanted to be what you were, Dwayne, from the beginning, resourceful. In fact, I said the exact same thing, still do to this day, that I don't know the answer. That's a good question, but I'm going to get you the answer as fast as I can and get back to you. And we close the gap. And that's what people want. They just want respect. Let them out of the side street onto the double yellow line with guidance, and they will love you. See, because people have a fear of sounding stupid. So a lot of them won't even ask their questions. Sometimes you have to pry at them and say, hey, what do you think happened? What do you think went wrong? I don't know. My impression is it was this, but it could have been that. Yeah, well, I looked at it online and, I thought some of the marketing could be better. I don't disagree with you. I'm not trying to hurt the other realtor, but the pictures were a little bit dark. And these days through syndication marketing, it's got to look good. So we use professional photographers, so we make sure that doesn't happen to us. So it might be a little bit of a hairy moment where you are comparing yourself to the competitor, but you can do it in a teaching way, in an empowering way, without hurting anybody. And that's what I mean by still being aggressive. You still want to advocate for why you. Look, a lot of schools compete with each other, Dwayne, right? They want the student, so they have to advocate for themselves and what they have to offer without hurting somebody. It's a dance, it's a fine line, but you can become empowered by saying, I don't care if you stay with your sister, the realtor. I'm still sending you my plan because it will help you and your sister, the realtor. Geez, I really appreciate that. Thanks. All I ask in return, if you know anybody who could use my help, would you do me a favor and refer me? I mean, that just happened to me. I have a guy that knows me locally. Turns out he didn't want to buy on Cape, went off Cape and decided to buy with somebody else. And I could sense he was almost guilty. I'm like, wow, what's the big deal? You're not in my wheelhouse. You're down there. You did it. By the way, if you know anybody that's going to be local, would you refer them to me? Absolutely. So, look, it's not about getting cheated on. It's not, although, there are real circumstances where things go hairy. Paul Cantu and I were talking about one yesterday. But I think if you just start from this empowering position, I'm only interested in you today, all of you, okay? And I'll have one more bonus, little section here of time before I have to call it quits. I'm here to empower you to be free in a conversation, no matter what the context. I'm this person calling you because I have this thing called a guide and a plan. And I think it can help you or any of your friends. And like Dean said, I'd love your feedback on it to see if it really is helpful. And if there's anything else I could give you, I'd like to be your resource. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just trying to get my business going, and I want to be resourceful to people. I want to be of community service because I understand that that's the way I want to build my business. Dwayne, make sense? Tiff, make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Set yourselves free. Just try this. Try this anywhere. Try it at an open house like I told Paul Mahalowich's team. Try it with your friends and family. Go out there and offer the guidance. If you don't know what I'm referring to, Dwayne, Voltaire has access to the 7 steps. His sister has it. They have it. They know what it is. It's a resource we use. It's pretty straightforward. It comes in infographic form or a full-blown booklet. You should read it. You should know it and become empowered because teachers with the understanding of the material are much better suited to be effective, okay? So bravo for your hustle and your creativity, but bring that teacher alive. All right, anybody have a burning situation in sales context they want to deal with today? Anybody have a question for me about sales? Anything else or commenting on this?
Danny, I do. This is Meredith.
Go ahead.
Realty.
Yeah, go ahead, Meredith.
So a while back we had talked about a situation of an expired where I had chatted with the woman of the house and did a listing presentation with her, but not her husband.
Yes.
And I sent an email out to the husband because she basically told me that they would be using me to list the house.
Yes.
And so she gave me her husband's information, and I sent him a really nice email. And I sent a current market report and the seller booklet, the infographic, all the things they already had, but I went ahead and sent those again in the email.
Good.
So I sent that back in July.
Yes.
And then I talked it over with Tanyelle, and we just kind of let it sit because I've heard nothing back. But my only concern now is I have checked a couple times to see whether or not it's been listed. Maybe they went ahead and went with another broker. They still have not listed it. I'm leaving the country for 3 weeks on September 10th. So my question is, how should I handle it?
Why haven't you gone?
Should I reach out to them?
100% yes. This is interesting. It's funny how this happened at the Griffin Realty Group training with Dave Nadolski this week, one of our agents, where 2 weeks ago or a week ago, I said to everybody on my team, I said, look, one of the most important things is to understand the concept of funnel. We taught that at Mastermind this week, where a funnel is the entire process. It's an ugly word for building relationships through the entire process. So did you get face-to-face with the wife? I can't remember. Can you give me that context?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Did you get face-to-face with the wife?
Yes, I did a face-to-face with the wife.
Okay.
And I did a listing presentation.
Yeah,
with her.
okay. Did you ever get face-to-face with the husband?
No, I've yet to meet the
Okay.
man.
Did the husband ever acknowledge that you got you sent him the stuff?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Have you ever followed up with the wife after being face to face?
Oh, I have been face to face with her probably at least 4 times. I've stopped at their house.
Okay, and
until the very last time. Yeah.
and when's the last time?
So the last time, present when they came back by holiday, and it was then that she told me it already passed realtor who listed it, and said, "Get your box, what have you." So I knew they were.
All right, everybody, she's breaking up or I'm breaking up. Can anybody hear her?
No, it's fine. Not you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can tell you what's going on.
All right, yeah, go ahead. Meredith, you have a bad line. Go ahead, Tanyel, tell me.
So she did get face-to-face with her after the initial listing appointment, and the wife pretty much told her that, we want you to list the property, but my husband wants to meet you first.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give you his email. Please reach out to him because he's kind of like a final decision maker.
Yeah.
So Meredith did,
Yeah.
emailed him,
Yeah.
tried to set an appointment,
Yeah.
but they would never get back with her to confirm. And
The wife wouldn't?
he never responded.
The wife
to
wouldn't?
emails.
The wife wouldn't? She has the relationship with the wife.
The wife kept puffing it off on the husband.
Okay, so hey, I've tried my best to get in touch with your husband to book an appointment because you asked me to do so, and he just hasn't gotten back to me. Can you help me get to him?
Okay.
Yeah,
You back, Meredith?
yeah, we seem to try to.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah. Why didn't that happen, Meredith? You hear what I said? Like, very simply put, I tried to get in touch with the husband as you requested because he's the final decision maker. I sent him the email. I've called him. I've done whatever, and I'm unable to get a response. Do you know if he got the email? Can you help me get an appointment with him?
So basically, go back to the house and present that to her.
Well, look
is what you're saying.
Well, I'm just saying, just get her help to do what she asked you to do. She asked you to go get an appointment
Right.
with the guy. How come you're not pressing her to help you if he won't respond? I did what you told me to do. I went there to talk to him. He hasn't responded. Can you help me get an appointment with him? Can you help me get face-to-face? Because if you don't get face-to-face with all decision makers, you're nowhere. And in that time that's atrophying, that's why I told you about Dave Nadolski. By the time he met somebody at an open house, sent the first email out of MLS, didn't do anything for 30 days and was hoping the fish was going to jump in the frying pan and fry itself up. Doesn't work like that. We have to maintain the momentum of the relationship. She told you to go off in a direction, you did what she told you to do. That's respect. You did it multiple times, that's effort. You didn't get a result, you need help. Go back to her and ask her for her help. You're talking about going away and all this stuff. I'm scratching my head saying to myself, well, wait a minute. Go back to the person that has indicated she already likes you and ask for help getting an audience with the other decision maker. Very simple to me.
Okay.
So if that can be done, if that can be done over the phone, great. If it has to be done face to face, great. Whatever. Get it done. But see, this is a gap in communication. You're atrophying, falling away. And look what you're doing. You're looking in MLS to see if they've listed with somebody else without calling the wife where there's already a relationship. Why are you doing that? Fear. Fear of loss. Your fear of loss has taken your logic and stripped it out of your head and thrown it down the street. The logic is, I have a relationship with this woman. She likes me. She's trying to sell her husband on getting with me. That hasn't happened. Pull the fire alarm, get the meeting with him, and it's that simple. Then you'll know for sure whether he's talking to somebody else and blowing his wife's advice off. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
You put it on her. You asked me to do this. I did it multiple times. I had no luck. Can you help me? Where do we stand? Got it?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
I'll call her.
Yep. Simple. Awesome. I'll expect an update next week. Chris, did I steamroll you? I got a quick minute and then I've got to call it. Go ahead.
No, I had to jump off, deal with a technical issue, but yeah, I just wanted to get your advice. And I love what I've heard today. I think great advice. Great advice on being resourceful, timeless advice. Not being a teacher and approaching things from that perspective. Just wanted to see if you had any 2 cents on dealing with divorce scenarios, and specifically dealing with a divorce scenario with a very funky property where basically the husband's in one state. And wife is here, and they've got attorneys they're going through, and it's it seems to be amicable. Everybody's amicable so far, but the the values that they're tossing around are way in outer space, and it's
So stop right there. So stop right there. Where are the values coming from?
I think the values are just coming from perception more than anything. I mean, they haven't cited anything tangible.
Okay, so hold on. All right, stop. I'm going to really cut to the chase because I'm out of time, so I'm going to be really quick with you. My first gut reaction is it's like a probate. Your job is to provide a trading range to them for discussion purposes. You send it to all four parties, both lawyers, husband and wife. Say, look it, without really getting down to the nitty gritty and giving coaching as to what can and cannot happen, given the divorce, for preconditioning this or reconditioning this, here's a potential trading range that this is in. I've heard these other numbers. I'm just having trouble finding evidence that would support it. But I'm happy to talk about perhaps how we can get up into that range. Period. It's very black and white at that point in time, right? I mean, here's the problem, same thing with Meredith. When we leave it in the nebulous and we don't step in, I'm going to be the aggressive teacher now, okay? So we've got Dwayne and we've got all this teaching and everybody's vibing with it, but you also have to be aggressive with the teaching. Some of the best teachers in the world are aggressive. They're going to go in there and challenge you to look at the information, okay? And say, look, I know everybody wants them the most because we're splitting the proceeds in this divorce, but there's a reality to this situation. I'm sure you all want to resolve the divorce, so let me give you the math that's in front of me. I'm happy to discuss it with all parties, okay, and tell you what it means.
Can I give you a little bit more detail on what we're dealing with? What we're dealing with is basically two side-by-side houses in a desirable area with small, average size, we're talking fifth of an acre, urban lots. Pretty much everything in that area has that. Right? Yeah. They own these two houses side by side, and they've also got two vacant lots behind them where the total parcel totals about an acre. Houses on the block have been going like 200 to 250 with just these average size lots. They're thinking someone can tear them down and literally build this new grand mega mansion that's going to be worth in the millions, which we do have a handful of properties in that area that have sold around like that. But the trade.
All right, Chris, hold on. Here we go, Chris, hold on. Chris, hold on. Don't make that case to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make it to them. Say, look, is that a remote possibility? Sure. But as a market maker, what I'm educating you is the more likely one. You want to bracket it up there? That the dream home run is this? Wonderful. But you want to see what I think is more realistically going to happen or where the meat of the market is? It's this. That's your job. You don't have to give me all the minute details. I'm telling you that I'm going to defer to you, Chris. You're the Kentucky expert. You're the Louisville expert. Take a look at round and say, I know you want the most amount of money, but these $1 million McMansions where people tear them down, there's none in your immediate neighborhood. So if they did that, now they're by far and away the most expensive house in that neighborhood, or they're not, Chris. You're asking me something, and I'm going to give you the same advice over and over. What does the evidence in the micro market suggest that the thing is worth? Stay focused on that. Stop letting them go off into the poppy fields with Dorothy, right?
Right, gotcha. And then you just join them all in the conversation together.
You got it, man. Right? You got it. Just say, hey, what do you think? Like Dean had a great line today, and we'll leave it on that. What do you think? I'm giving you this. I'm giving you the solds at $1 million and where they were. Would you tear yours down and build a new house and do this? Because building's much more expensive than you think. I would bring evidence and stir up the guided discussion that you're in charge of. A good lecturer puts something out there and disturbs the peace. All right? Go get him.
Right.
Cool.
Got it.
All right, everybody. I got to call it. Good work. I'm late for something now, but I love you, so I hung in there with you. All right? All right, everybody. Good work here today. Talk to you next week. Go get him.